So let's get started. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you our first afternoon presentation. Brady Lukavsky. Brady attends West Branch High School and lives in Iowa City. He is the son of Michelle and Josh Lukavsky. The title of his project is Can You Hear Me?
My goals of this project educationally is I want to be
Now I can communicate just like you. Growing up with a severe disability, I had to overcome many obstacles that others took for granted. As a fourth grade, I realized just how different I was, and my parents moved to West Branch. I was left behind because the West Branch school didn't have the services I need for my IEPs to be successful. And I spent a year away from my siblings while they were making new friends, and I was stuck behind. Finally, West Branch found and hired a teacher a year later, and I could come to West Branch that year. Throughout that experience, my eyes were open to many things. I learned how different life can be for deaf and hard of hearing students. And I also learned how hard it is for peers to communicate with deaf students. In Columbus Junction, I was just Brady. No one thought anything different about me and didn't treat me differently. I was just Brady. But at West Branch, people talk slower and louder, and sometimes they even laughed when I stumbled on my speech. I wasn't Brady anymore. I was different. Peers had to take the time to get to know me and get past my deafness. As I started participating in school sports, I lost out on early opportunities to play, and that made me frustrated because I knew I could play. And for example, I was hitting ground balls to my mom's softball team when I was 5 years old, and I filled in on my dad's sophomore summer basketball team when I was a 7th grader. I was working so hard that it made me frustrated, and I was almost ready to give up until one coach, and he changed it all for me. They made the accommodation to make sure that I could hear, and all the coaches started to follow that, because they took the time and they gave me so many opportunities. My whole life had been centered around helping others. But when I started my Hoover project, Can You Hear Me? It centered around helping a cause much bigger than myself. I am one of over 4,000 deaf students in the state of Iowa, and I am one of over 400,000 deaf individuals living in Iowa. We all have a different story, but I know that others like me do not know that we have help in many ways, and I'm hoped to be one of those helping hands. Governor Kim Reynolds declared September 24th through the 30th as the Week of the Deaf in Iowa. The state of Iowa believes that citizens who are deaf and hard of hearing should deserve equal access, opportunities, and the right accommodation to make their life successful. But unfortunately, Iowa is not there yet. Equal access is far from happening statewide, and I want to make that a better experience for them and to ensure that no one will get left behind from school like I did. So when I started this project, I started with 4 basic goals. I want to help others communicate with deaf individuals. I want to emphasize the need for equal or similar services for state and school-to-school. I want to lobby legislators to have them insert hearing aids to make them more affordable. On average, a hearing aid costs around $600 to $1,300. I want to work with the local Lions Club to support families monetarily and get them hearing aids. So as I began this project, I found it very expanding quickly. My work became much broader, and every step led to a new avenue to assist deaf individuals. I reached out to educators and administrators who serve deaf individuals. I reached out to legislators, the Boys and Girls Athletic
My
Union,
goal throughout this
and
project
a nationwide program called Hands and Voices.
I want to be
I reached out to the local Lions Club and the Lions Foundation at the state level, and many others. Through this, I found that everyone was willing to help me and lead to a new avenue to assist deaf individuals. I was so humbled and at the willingness of others to help me. Just a deaf boy with a dream and passion to help other deaf individuals. Through this project, I felt a small glimpse of what Hoover must have felt through his humanitarian relief efforts in Belgium. Just as his relief effort grew and became very successful, my project has expanded and become one that can last forever. No one had any reason to help me, but I reached out and hoped that someone would, just as Hoover did, and with great success, people were willing to help me. My project turned into an all-conclusive deaf advocacy. I became connected with many leaders across the state in both the deaf and hearing world. The state executive leadership team for the deaf and blind asked me to come to speak to their team about my project and life as a deaf student in Iowa. I traveled to Des Moines to the Grimes building in September and presented my work to the state level leadership team. They were so enthusiastic about my work that I spent over 20 minutes answering their questions to help them guide their work in improving services for deaf and hard of hearing students in Iowa. I met with the Girls Athletic Union Assistant Executive Director, and I will be meeting with the Boys Athletic Union Director on October 27th. Where I presented to the Assistant Executive Director in September, Gary Ross from the Girls Union, I was in return invited to speak to the student board about the needs to support deaf peers. I have meetings scheduled with legislators to talk about the need to cover hearing aids and also the need for them to support the Lead K bill. The Lead K bill is fighting to allow pre-K students to be tested in their native language rather than just English. As a preschool and elementary student, I was not always able to pronounce my words due to my severe speech impairment. That greatly affected my reading score, and if I could have signed at the time what I knew, I would have scored higher. I joined the Hands and Voices to reach more hearing impaired peers. And finally, I connected with both local and state level Lions Foundation to raise money and collect used hearing aid equipment to support the state level work to give the hearing aid to those who can't afford. And as well, collect batteries for the local nursing homes. I realized throughout this project there are many aspects that will continue past my time in high school. My advocacy work with the Boys and Girls Union will continue yearly as I meet with them with brochures and ideas to help coaches with deaf and hard of hearing individuals. My hearing equipment drive will continue in my community with the help of the local Lions Foundation and myself. And when I started down this path of Hoover Project, I had no idea how it would change me. It gave me a greater passion and the confidence to fight for something bigger than just myself. Throughout this project, I received help from many different individuals and organizations, and my building administrator and athletic director were the biggest supporters in my project. My deaf or hard of hearing teacher, my coaches, and local Lions Club member were critical to the success of my project. In addition, I received support and assistance to grow out my project through the DHH leaders across the state, as well as the state level local Lions Club Foundation. I received help in promoting my idea from local newspaper editors, and through that support, I have received donations as far as from Florida from an individual I've never met. As the time frame for the Uncommon Student Scholarship competition comes to a close, I truly feel that I have accomplished more than I set out to accomplish. However, my project is truly just the beginning. I have lifelong work to do. I have grown and learned throughout this project. I have learned that if I start with a dream and a plan, I can accomplish anything that I desire to. I have learned that many people are willing to help if you ask and inform them. This is where I started, and this is where I am. In my project, I have been working to help improve the lives of other deaf students and individuals throughout the state, but one life that has truly been changed is mine. This project has changed my life in ways that I will never be able to express my gratitude. Rupert Hoover was a selfless humanitarian, and I truly hope that my project reflects his life in the best way possible. Thank you.
You mentioned that you collected hearing equipment. How are you dispensing or sharing that equipment with others that need it then?
May I send him to the local Lions Foundation manager, because I reached out to him and he supported me, so I will send the hearing aid to him and he'll clean it and then he'll send it to whoever needs it.
Okay, the other thing is, you said you raised some money. How much money did you raise and what is that money being used for?
I raised $150 and it will be used to buy hearing aid equipment or batteries that need to be used for.
Can you describe a little bit more about what the Lions Club is doing? You mentioned the distribution of some of the equipment, but what other things are they doing to support you?
Mike Quinlan, who's the member of the local Lions Foundation club, he reached out to me and he gave me ideas of where to put my hearing equipment drives, like the Main Street suites in town and West Branch Times, and then he also gave me ideas of contact to help get me support.
You mentioned you spoke to several state organizations. What impact do you think you've had on athletics in the state of Iowa high schools?
I think I've given them the path because of me. They'll think that I overcome a lot of obstacles and I'll be like a role model that they can play sports if they work hard at it and talk to the coaches on the side to make accommodations.
Do you feel from your conversations with the State Athletic Association that they will make any changes to how they do things within the state of Iowa to make this easier?
I think they'll make changes, like get information out, because most of the deaf individuals did not know that they can reach out to the union to get the equipment they need. Like I reached out to a union member to get my helmet fitted for my CI for football.
So I see you're a West Branch Bear. You talked a lot about the coaches making accommodations. What type of things did the coach do for you to accommodate your hearing loss?
He pulled me aside and asked me what I can do to help me make a better survivment for me. So I brought a brochure to him that explained like ways to talk to the deaf individual, like always be in plain sight with the lips, because I like to read lips a lot. For example, my principal would have to cover his mouth when I read his lips because he knows I can't. And my coach also makes sure that I have my microphone to give it to him every practice, and he will not take my excuse if I don't have it, like if I really don't.
So if you could look ahead 5 years from now from the things you've done within the state, what would be your hope that would come out of this in 5 years?
The population rate of joining the sports, the deaf individuals increase a lot more and making a lot more money than the 5,000.
Thank you very much, Brady.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.